for joining us today. Today, my team and I are here to inculcate you all on the ESP with reference to the aviation. Our presentation will explore you all on the critical role of ESP in this specified industry. As aviation is known to be a global enterprise, very clear and effective communication is very essential for ensuring safety and operational efficiency. This specific ESP focuses on the specialized language skills needed by aviation professionals, including pilots, air traffic controllers, and even the ground crew. Meanwhile, on the other hand, we also understand ESP with reference to aviation is not only as a bridge to communication gap, but also it reduces misunderstandings in high pressure limitations. So we will be discussing based on economic impact, the evolution of the aviation industry, the origins, root meanings, and the newly acquired meanings, how the words have enriched us in this specified industry, facilitating of new words in cross-border communications, and then we will conclude it. Nature of the industry. As we all understand, this is a very global enterprise field of education. The aviation industry encompasses various sectors such as commercial airlines, aerospace manufacturing, and also services with reference to aviation. Meanwhile, this is a very critical component of global transportation, infrastructure, facilitating to both passenger and also cargo transports across the world. Global expansion. As individuals, we understand that this platform, this specific industry, has expanded significantly across continents and countries driven by the increase of demand for air travel, technological advancement, and also in the aircraft design and manufacturing field. International communication. English is known to be a standardized language used for international flight operations, including air traffic control and pilot communications, which therefore ensures safety and efficiency in global air travel. Training and certification. English is commonly used in the training as training materials and certification processes for both pilots and also crew members. Meanwhile, on the other hand, we also understand that it enables consistent and standardized procedures across different continents and countries. Now I will hand it over to Zainab to enhance us on the economic impact based on the aviation industry.
Thank you, Mahdia. I'm going to talk to you all on the descriptive details of the aviation industry in terms of its economic impacts, global human resources involved, and its linguistic impacts. Globalization has firmly established English as universal language of the aviation industry, and it's also important for global transportation and connectivity. And it links linguistic diversities among diverse stakeholders. The aviation industry links international airlines, markets, and partnerships, linking cities, countries, and economies. This could be further affirmed by looking at its economic impacts. As of 2023 reports, the estimated net value of the global aviation industry is around $838 billion, where the major industry players are Delta Airlines, American Airlines, Emirates, and Lufthansa Group. Further, the contribution of the aviation industry to the gross domestic production, according to the reports of the International Air Transport Association, is around 4.1%. In other words, $3.5 trillion. As you could see, the major contribution to the GDP is from North America taking the first place, contributing $1.1 trillion US, while Europe taking the second place, contributing $991 billion. Next, let's take a look at the global human resources involved. The aviation sector is a vast and dynamic field encompassing a wide range of job roles. For an example, pilots, flight attendants, ground staff, engineers, air traffic controllers, and many others who work behind the scene, ensuring safe and efficient air travel. Approximately 65.5 million people are employed in the aviation sector. Its breakdown could be stated as direct employment 10.2 million, indirect employment 10.8 million, induced employment 7.8 million, while tourism-related employment taking up the majority of 36.0 million. Further, the expanse to which the aviation industry has expanded could be further elaborated using the trend analysis conducted by the International Air Transport Association, where they had conducted in the Economic Research and Analysis Division. So, according to the data, in 2019, the worldwide employment had been 2.93 million, but it has declined in 2020 due to the COVID pandemic to 2.56 million. But yet again, it has increased from 2021 onwards, as we see. Finally, let's move on to the implication of the aviation industry for business English, in other words, its linguistic implications, which will be further elaborated by my other team members. So the industry has paved the way for a vast range of vocabulary like jet lag, layover, which were specific to the industry, are now in general conversation. Furthermore, the industry has standardized numerous terms and phrases which are crucial for clear and effective communication in global business, also important for safety protocols, as in estimated time of arrival, grounded clearance, holding patterns, fasten your seatbelt, and many other terms. These terms facilitate precise and universal communication among all stakeholders, irrespective of their native language or their mother tongue. Furthermore, it emphasizes the pivotal role of the aviation industry in shaping business English. Next, Fazana will provide you with a comprehensive understanding on the evolution of the aviation industry along with the vocabulary introduced. And with that comes to the end of my part of the presentation. Over to you, Fazana.
Thank you, Zainab. So now I'll be talking through, I'll take you through a brief journey of how aviation industry has evolved over time. So let's begin with the first era, the pioneer era, which was in the late 19th century to the early 20th century, and which was first powered by the first powered flight is also known as the Wright Flyer, and also which it was launched by the Wright brothers Wilbur and Aldrin. So the first flight was on December 17, 1903, and this era was recognized as the birth of modern aviation. Moreover, some terms such as airplane, propeller, and wing were introduced at the first stage of this era. Moving on to the next slide. So the World War I and the expansion of aviation took place between the time period of 1914 to 1918. And this was the beginning of the military aviation, and the first widespread use of aircraft in World War I was taken place. Moreover, some of the terms such as fighter, bomber, and dogfight were entered to the English language during this period. And also, the war accelerated the development for the aviation specific language, and along with that, the technologies advanced during this period. Moving on to the third era, it was the interwar period, which was also known as the commercial aviation between the 1920s and 1930s. So basically, there was this establishment of the first commercial aviation that occurred, and also there were some of the technological advancements, such as the aircrafts were more larger and reliable, and also there was the introduction of an air navigation systems laid the foundation for this commercial aviation. And also the terms such as airport, terminal were introduced during this time period. We're moving on to the next era, the World War II and the golden age of aviation. So this was one of the most important eras out of all, where it was during the 1939 to 1945, where technological innovations such as jet engines, long-range bombers, and radar were introduced during this time, and also some of the words like radar, jet engine, and autopilot became the part of the aviation lexicon. Then we have the jet age and the globalization era, which falls under during the 1950s to 1970s, where the jet-powered commercial airlines like the Boeing 707 was introduced, and also some of the words such as jet lag, jumbo jet, and economy class emerged during this era because as the global air travel were introduced during this golden era. Next, finally, we have the modern era where the advanced technology was introduced from the 1980s till present. And we find that there was satellite navigation and fly-by-wire system which transform modern aviation, making flights more safe and more efficient to the world. So during this era, there were some of the terms like avionics, fly-by-wire, drone, and carbon footprint, which were added later on and still being used in the aviation industry. And now we are moving on to the next segment, where I'm going to talk about a few key terms on aviation, tracing the origin, the root meanings, and the newly acquired meanings of some of the terms which were added to the aviation industry. So moving on with the first term, cockpit, which was originally called, a cockpit which was referred to a pit for fighting cock. It was used in the 16th century, and then later on in the early 20th century, the meaning became more important during the aviation industry, which described the compartment where the pilot and the crew sit in an aircraft. The second term, the aileron, which was origined during the early 20th century, and also it was a French derived term, which means a wing. So basically the newly acquired meaning of it was like, it was important to show that how the control surface on the wing allows the aircraft to roll or bang in the aircraft. Moving on to the next one, the fuselage. It is also a French derived term. In the early 20th century, it was used as a spindle shape referring to the main body of the aircraft. And later on, we know that this term, the main body of the aircraft, where the cockpit, passengers, and the cargoes are included. So this term is one of the common terms that we use nowadays as well. So moving on with the next one, hangar. It was introduced in the late 19th centuries, and again it's another French derived term. Also it is known as a shelter or a shed back then, but nowadays we call it, it's a term which is used in the aviation industry to describe a building where aircraft are stored and maintained. Next we have Mayday, which was introduced in 1923, which technically means help me during the late 19th century. But now we call it, now it is used as an international distress signal for emergency situations. Lastly, we have the term steward or stewardess, which was originally called as a house guardian, but then again we use it as, it's referred to as a flight attendant nowadays, who is responsible for the care and service of passengers in an aircraft. So finally, I would like to say that each of these terms carries with it a rich history, basically transforming the needs and innovations in aviation, showing us how language like flight can evolve and adapt into new heights. So move over to Shamali with her part.
Thank you, Fasana. I am here to discuss about how have the words enriched the aviation language and how help the industry. Here, I have divided this discussion into two parts. First one, enrichment of aviation language, and the second one, industry advancement with few main points. So aviation terminology has enriched the English language by adding precision and specificity. Precision in aviation terminology ensures that every term used has a specific and unambiguous meaning. Here under precision, here under precision I have mentioned an example as altitude. In every language, altitude referred as height, but in aviation, it has a precise meaning as vertical distance of aircraft above sea level. This precision is critical for ensuring the pilots and air traffic controllers to understand the exact position of the aircraft. When it comes to specificity, terms are designed to convey detailed and exact information about various aspects such as flight conditions and aircraft parts, etc. Here under specificity, I have mentioned an example as Mayday. It's a signal to a life-threatening emergency recognized internationally. Um, Now you got to know how aviation terminology enriches the English language by providing precise and specific terms that enhances safety in communication within the industry. Here, industry. Under precision and specificity, here also I have mentioned an example as Roger and Wilco. Here it also this term are universally understood in Roger and Wilco as it's received and understand and will comply. Here let's turn to an expert's idea. A in aviation English, a specialized variety of English used for communication between pilots and air traffic controllers. This is a spoken variety of English with no written version. Biswanger 2016. According to this expert's idea, it helps me to prove the information I gave you. As an industry advancement, let's see how clear and standardized terminology enhances safety protocols. So in aviation, clear and standardized communication is essential to prevent accidents and ensure smooth operations while minimizes the risk of miscommunication. Here, as an industry advancement, here also I have mentioned an example as Mayday versus Pan-Fan. Mayday signals a life-threatening emergency, while Pan-Fan indicates an urgent but not immediately life-threatening situation. Finally, see how crucial for global air traffic management in aviation benefited to the industry level. So, as 2024, the Federal Aviation Administration handles over 44,000 flights and serves approximately 2.9 million airline passengers daily with US airspace. So I showed this statistic to show you how crucial, how essential role of air traffic management and standards have been doing to ensure the efficient and safe operations of global air traffic in the field of industry. So this brings me to the end of my presentation, and Yushra will continue the rest of our presentation along with the conclusion. This is Sita.
Thank you, Jamali. I'm here with you to discuss the facilitation of new words in cross-border communication in aviation. In other words, how the new words have made cross-border communication easier. With regards to that, As you know, effective communication is crucial in aviation. Given its global nature, and evolution of language plays a key role in this process. Firstly, let's talk about the importance of language in aviation. Aviation relies heavily on precise and clear communication to ensure safety and efficiency. Therefore, with aviation professionals from different countries interacting daily, having a standardized language is essential. This helps in reducing misunderstandings that could lead to serious issues. For an example, a pilot from France communicating with an air traffic controller in Japan uses English, ensuring that both parties understand each other, where it also helps in reducing ambiguity. So, using specific and accurate terms and specialized language helps to reduce ambiguity. For an example, the term head-up display or HUD refers to a system projecting flight information onto a transparent screen. This precise terminology eliminates confusion that could arise from describing this technology in more general terms. Following this, English is the mandated global language for aviation communication established by the International Civil Aviation Organization. This organization creates and enforce standardized sorry standardized phrases. Terms like Roger, as my colleague Chamali told earlier, terms like Roger are universally understood. Moving on to enhancing efficiency, which refers to specialized term help streamline communication. For an instance, scope refers to entering a specific code into an aircraft's transponder. Using this single term speeds up the process compared to explaining the action in detail. When it comes to training and documentation, new terms are incorporated in training programs and technical manuals. However, this standardization helps to ensure that professionals are on the same page. In conclusion, to summarize, new words and standardized terminology in aviation plays a crucial role in reducing ambiguity, enhancing efficiency, facilitating global consistency, and improving safety. According to Wool and Bernard, good communication is as important as technical proficiency for the safety of the flight. Therefore, this advancement in language helps to ensure that communication remains clear and effective. I would now like to open the door for any questions or discussions. Thank you for your cooperation.
Wait. Select an aviation industry.
Since it's a very globally incorporated topic, but most individuals fail to understand the impact of it with reference to specifically like English in terms, but so we thought we would derive a bit better in this because it is a globally connected one.
Because it's an industry which instantly connects the different countries. Say for example, Sri Lankan flight going into Maldives is immediately within a number of just maybe less than 1 hour, is crossing the borders, and you have to have real-time communication between people, not the computers or machines. So that's the reason as to why, and that is the reason as to why English has been made mandatory for all the people, all the pilots and all that, in order to make sure. And also the fact that English is made compulsory for the industry to make sure that miscommunication does not happen, therefore avoiding the collisions and accidents and things like that. Okay, right. Overall, the group has taken 23 minutes, whereas the time allocated is 25 minutes. So there's a slight negative variance in terms of utilizing, but it's not a major thing. But some of the presenters underutilize the time. That was one of the biggest problems. Not a very big problem, but that indicates that you have not done sufficient practicing. Are you clear? Mahathir, you are the one who started, right? Huh? Yes or no?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So you used about 3 minutes plus. Okay. Which is a right. Okay. Which means that okay, in a presentation maybe 1 minute is a big time. Are you clear? You can speak a lot. All right. Right. My hunch on it is that you guys are not weak students. You guys are good students. Have the capacity and the skill. So if you did more homework, if you had done more preparation, if you had done more reading, you could have added more in depth to the presentation. Alright? So need more time, Mahathir. Clear? For preparation. How many times did you practice as a group? Honest?
45.
Huh?
Roughly about 45.
Times? I don't think so. Did you practice as a group? You did? I think it's very realistic to say that it's about 2 to 3 times or 2 times. 4 to 5 times. Did you time the presentation as well? Okay. Next is you, right? Okay. You're confident. The pronunciation, English, flow, everything is good. But my worry is that you are somebody who could do much better than this. Okay. When compared to the previous two groups, understand, I'm not comparing, but if you look at the previous two groups, the analysis was more in depth. You could have done the same, because you guys are not having problems with English. Alright, fluency, English, vocabulary, everything is okay. Are you clear? Yes or no? Next presentation, next module, I need a better one. I did not see an in-text citation in the slide. Some of you gave the citations in your speech, but nothing was mentioned in the slides. You had? Probably I missed it. Okay. Good. Okay. So you can include a little more. There are a lot of research articles which has been done on the industry. Are you clear? Yes or no? Okay. FICE, is it? My problem is that, okay, some of the words that you took, which has added to English language, are not very new ones. These are some of the terms are old terms. to get my point? So that's the issue. See, there were people who read about the movie industry and all that. Yes or no? More, right? Even the aviation industry, there are a lot of new terms, technical terms, which you could have, researched and found out and presented. Yes or no? Okay, now because some of your statistics were very impressive. Statistics, 2.9 million daily users. Understand? Which means that you need a lot of English. Go to any airport, anywhere in the world. I went to Russia recently. Russia is using, say for example, you go to airport, immigration, any country which is not using English at all is evident, because you can't do without it. That's what a linked language is all about. So I need more analysis into that. Understand? How does it create a global link language where if you speak that language a little, you can survive anywhere in the country. I have not been to Afghanistan. Probably Afghanistan airport should be also having. I'm pretty sure that Afghanistan also now be having a lot of people who are speaking English, because the American forces were present in Afghanistan. When they go to Afghanistan, they don't start speaking Afghan. They teach English to the natives. That's what the powerful nations do. That's what their colonial this thing is. Charlie, you need to work harder than this. You need to work on your quality of pronunciation. You need to work on your confidence, facial expressions. Understand? Yes or no? Right? Because, okay, right? I know that these people are practicing English teachers and all. You need to improve your. I'm somebody who's very direct with comments for my students. I don't say that you did well if you have not done that. Okay? Now, right? I know that for your Fasana, right? I'm sorry. Saina. Okay, I know that because I spoke to Herandi also about you. Right? I know that you guys can do better. Maybe you practice, but the deep research that you put into this is much more needed. Are you clear? Charlie, okay, Mama age homework with mark karadi sakita. So please work harder. Alright? Yusra? Good attempt. Okay? Right? But you need more energy, you need more vigor into it. Are you clear? Yes or no? Alright. Good. Right? But you can do much better than this. That's my mistake. Are you okay? Alright.